Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning from wherever you are. And hey kids, do you like heartbreak? Good, because so do I. So, full shout out to Swamp Donkey Steve for linking me the article and for breaking my heart in the process. Thanks, mate. As you can tell from the title, we are talking about Kenobi and how it was changed. And in the reviews that I took part in with other fellow Nerdtubians, I said that this show stank of studio interference. You could definitely tell that the director had one vision and the studio had another. My fears, sadly, were confirmed. Here is the Enemy article written by Adam Starkey, in which Kennedy's cancer spews all over this, and I want to make this clear because I know I come across as a bit of a neckbeard, has a hatred for women or all this kind of stuff. Just understand, I hate all executive producers. They are cancer of the arts. They're nothing but glorified accountants that have zero creative talent and should never ever be allowed anywhere near a project unless it's to help control the budgets. That is it. You're a fucking accountant, and that is all you should ever be allowed to be. And for those of you aware, and again, I know we're talking Kennedy here and Star Wars and toxic fandom and all this kind of stuff, but again, I need to reiterate, Kurtzman is just as big a piece of talentless shit as Kennedy is. He clearly doesn't know what Star Trek is. There we go. Okay, are you happy now? I've met the balance because I feel like today... These days, you can't criticise anyone without being labelled a racist, a sexist, a neckbeard, a gammon, or anything like that. Okay? I'm a lefty, I'm woke, but I'm also very critical of bad storytelling and writing, because I'm also an effing writer. Okay? So, let's read the article. The title, straight away, is a great big punch to the face. Obi-Wan Kenobi series was rewritten because it was too dark. Subtitle: We're looking ultimately to make a hopeful, uplifting story inside an empire that is murdering and crushing people, and you want an uplifting story. You know what the uplifting story is? Return of the Jedi is the uplifting story. A New Hope is the uplifting story. Anything else that happens in between that and Revenge of the Sith is not meant to be uplifting. You can have uplifting moments like the creation of the Rebel Alliance and getting small pockets of victory, but ultimately, just like in real life, the Empire comes crashing down on you and destroys everything. There is nothing uplifting to be had. We know the uplifting. There's no foreshadowing needed. There's no hope needed. We know we get the happy ending. So it's very, very, very creatively good to go down a much darker route and show just how evil this empire is and how much more uplifting Return of the Jedi is. Do you understand? Basic, simple story structure. And the best stories, the best plays were always written to be tragic. If everything's uplifting and nice, it's boring. You don't talk about it. You get annoyed because there's no... I mean, we watch Kenobi, all the characters in it, there's no sense of danger, and anyone that dies in it, you don't really care about them. More people were literally upset when their droid got killed than the Imperial officer that's a double agent or working for the rebels. Which goes to show you, there was just... Nobody was invested in any of the characters, and the one villain that you had, Reva, who really... was a bit of a limelight stealer and shouldn't have taken the limelight away. I still enjoyed her for what she was, but the redemption arc, no. Vader should have killed her, and it would have been like, hey, look, they did a really good character. She's a bitch, she's ambitious, she wants to get to the top. She goes above Vader's head and suffers the consequences of it. That would have been a fantastic end to an interesting character. And I feel bad for Moses Ingram because she suffered a lot of abuse. But always remember, she's just an actress doing a job. Don't abuse them. Anyway, let's get to the article. The original script for Star Wars series Obi-Wan Kenobi were revamped to make a more uplifting and hopeful story. The upcoming Disney Plus, so obviously this is before the launch of the show, but still. And the reason I don't know about any of this is because I will happily avoid all trailers and spoilers and just wait for the show, just so I go in fresh and not knowing every little detail, because I just find that ruins everything these days. So it's better to go in completely blind. So I was oblivious to any articles or anything. Had I known this before the show launched, I would have known, oh my God, this is going to be a disaster. And it was. The upcoming Disney Plus series brings back Ewan McGregor, blah, 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 blah. Feature Entertainment Weekly, Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy revealed she was concerned by the show's original scripts, written by Hossein Amini, due to their dark tone. Again, we are 10 years into the Empire. It's not supposed to be a light-hearted barb. As a result, production was delayed from August. So here we go again. See, this is the problem, you see. Kennedy doesn't like something. We get delays. People get fired. Or people leave production. This has happened since the beginning. Only J.J. Abrams and Rian Johnson have managed to steer their ship in whatever direction they wanted. That's because it toes the garbage line of whatever crap Disney wants from Star Wars. Although I hate Last Jedi, I'll give Johnson props for finally exploring the Force a lot more than all the other people did. I found that part interesting. So again, I don't want people thinking I'm a complete hater, toxic. Like The Force Awakens, I enjoyed all the characters. Just the third act was rubbish, and Rogue One is the best Star Wars thing ever made. It's a goddamn miracle. But again, they had to make a lot of last minute changes that made more sense to the tone of the film and the story, and those were the actual good changes. Anyway, so we're looking ultimately to make a hopeful, uplifting story, said Kennedy, and it's tricky when you're starting with a character in the state that Obi-Wan would be in coming off of Revenge of the Sith. That's a pretty bleak period of time. You can't just wave the magic wand with any writer and arrive at a story that necessarily reflects what you want to feel. No, what I wanted to feel is the complete and utter despair and soul-crushing boot of the Empire coming down on everyone and just showing how very little you could get away with. And then you could have little pockets of victory and hints that lead to the Rebel Alliance. By the way, which they already conceived that the Rebel Alliance will be formed in Revenge of the Sith. It's just George Lucas, in his moronic wisdom, cut the best parts of that film out, where Amidala is sitting there with other people forming, with Mon Mothma as well, forming the Rebel Alliance, saying, look, we need to form a rebellion against this, because this and that. Those were the best scenes in Revenge of the Sith, and they were cut out. And they still, since, have never been added in as extras. Just like Peter Jackson gave us the superb extended cuts of Lord of the Rings, okay, George Lucas or no other arsehole went back and said, you know what, these scenes are really good, we're going to stick them in. Moving on. Harold worked with series director Deborah Chows on the story, asked how much of the original plot made it into the new version of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Chows said, they inherited some of it, but we really did make some significant changes. Yeah, you could tell. You could tell because the show is completely devoid of any logic or good storytelling or even a plot that... Oh, anyway. Obi-Wan Kenobi picks up 10 years after the Revenge, blah, 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 blah. Tatooine. Obi-Wan is lost, said McGregor. He's a broken man after what happened with the Jedi Order, but also what happened with Anakin. Yeah, again, episode 1 does a good job of showing that. But then everything that else happens afterwards, I mean, having Leia involved was just stupid. So that's the crux of the article. I will link it in the description below. There's not much to it. It's just that the two most glaring things are Deborah Chow saying, I had a much darker plan for the show, and then Kennedy coming along going, no, we want to sell toys, and we want to make it more kid-friendly so we can sell more merchandise, even though the adults are the ones buying all the merchandise. Anyway, this is, again, just another another dagger into the franchise that once was Star Wars. Lucas was the first one to slice it open, and Disney are just killing it. And that's fine. You know what? That's fine. I'll tell you why. Because I have Netflix and Amazon with Umbrella Academy, The Boys, and The Boys is going to get a couple of spin-offs, at least one spin-off. It's had an animated spin-off, which was amazing. So, at least Amazon and Netflix are doing well with their properties, and they have like The Witcher, and they have, like I said, Umbrella Academy, and we've got Stranger Things, and we've got The Boys, and we've got Lord of the Rings coming out. Hopefully that's good. Not off to a good start, but let's see. Hopefully that's good. But even Apple TV has amazing properties. So, you know, if Disney wants to peddle its kiddie crap, that's fine. It's just sad that it's killing a beloved franchise. And I also fear for the MCU moving forward, because it seems rather directionless at the moment. It's just more of, well, we've got a bunch of characters, let's just throw a bunch of shit at the wall and see what sticks, but we'll have no overall direction. Which I suppose is fine, because Disney's looking at this in the long run when it comes to the MCU. It's just like, look, we've got all these characters. There's no rush to get to Fantastic Four and the X-Men, because once we get to them, there's nothing else we can add afterwards that's going to grab anyone. Nothing new was created in Marvel Comics that's going to grab anyone. That they've attempted it. They've tried to bring in like more like woke characters and all this kind of stuff, but the problem is it's just so badly written. Besides, you don't need it. Your X-Men is the original effing woke property, as is Luke Cage and Black Panther. Alright? These were bastions of awesome diversity, and they weren't, because again, one of the biggest problems I have is, alright, and shout out, there was a writer, a Marvel writer, who also said it, that somebody's homosexuality does not define who they are. Okay, it's just a thing they are. And this is the problem. The problem is we are creating representation, okay? We are doing representation a disservice, because we are making it that this is the character's whole personality. It's their everything. It's their being. When in reality, it's just who they are. And I'm sure, yes, they will face some obstacles along the way, given the kind of world we live in. I understand that, but it also depends on the setting. If you're doing a futuristic science fiction and you're still talking about sexuality and gender identity 200-300 years in the future, then we have failed as a society. Because in 200 to 300 years into the future, I'm telling you, not only will gender identity not be an issue, okay, we won't have this kind of world, all right? You'll be able to just switch your genders, just like that. Fuck it, we're going to be so advanced in the future, if we survive, that these kind of issues shouldn't be put into things set 100 years in the future. In the modern times, fine. But don't make it define the character to who they are. Certain situations can arise, but make the character, just make them feel like a normal human being. Stop trying to make them stand out in a way that it's like that kind of Americana of my label is everything and my label is me and it defines me and it's all I am. And everything that happens around it doesn't matter because my label is me. And then you're just like, well, I don't really care about this character. So there's that. I've rambled on, but it's all connected. Okay, just if things are going to be dark, keep it dark. Things are going to be light-hearted, keep it light-hearted. Like Miss Marvel. It's light-hearted. Good bit of fun. Oh, the action's a bit daft and that, but I like the characters and it's a sweet show. Alright? That's it. That's all I got. I've rambled on for too long. That is all. Let normality reuse, and for the love of God, Kurtzman and Kennedy and all other executive producers, please let there be a law where they can't get involved into the creative process at all. Bye.